The most under-talked about quarterback in the 2025 NFL draft class is on the field this weekend against Notre Dame in the college football playoffs. Welcome back, everybody. This is Dave Syverson from Our Lad Scouting Services, and this is the first of multiple pre-draft, pre-playoff draft prospect previews that we are going to be bringing your way. The way this is going to work is we're going to break down one matchup at a time and break down one side of the ball from each team. We're not going to break down every single prospect, but some of the key guys that we want you to focus on in regard to the 2025 NFL draft. We're going to start off with the Indiana Hoosiers. When they have the ball, there's really going to be just one guy that you want to pay attention to. It's pretty obvious, and this is Curtis Rourke, a 6'4", 231-pound quarterback, the former MAC Offensive Player of the Year. He transferred to Indiana for 2024, ends up second team all-conference, 9.9 yards per attempt. They were second best in the entire country. The only catch, though, is with him, there's a couple things here, but the main one, he only threw the ball 288 times. For context, Shedeur Sanders threw the ball 458 times. Carson Beck, 449. Cam Ward, 435. With that said, the limited opportunities that we have on tape with Curtis Rourke, he had the best NFL passer rating of all the top quarterbacks in next year's draft. He's the best under pressure. He's the best at getting the ball out. He relies on screen passes and short dump offs a lot less than some of the names that I've already mentioned and the guys that a lot of people are calling first rounders. I do have a mid-round projection on Curtis Rourke at this point, but if there's one guy that can sneak into day two, maybe even to the top half of the second round, it's this guy. And I think this game against Notre Dame does mean a lot. He is big, he is athletic enough, and he's very accurate. He knows where to go with the ball post-snap. You can see how smart and how intelligent he is and how much of a feel he has for where the defense is. When he faces pressure, there's not a better quarterback in this class than Rourke, and the numbers do support it. The other guys, they're not even close. So with Rourke, there is a limitation with his speed and quickness, and there is a limitation with his arm strength. I do question if he can make all the throws, but when you're talking about just breaking down quality quarterback play, this is a draftable quarterback and a lot better than I think some people are thinking. On the other side of the ball, the Notre Dame defense has multiple guys I want you to keep track on. Track of Xavier Watts, a safety, 6', 203. This is a two-time All-American. He leads the nation with 12 interceptions over the past 2 years. I personally have a day two projection on this guy right now. But after Malachi Starks, the predominant number one safety in the class, the number two spot at that position is wide open. And this is someone that could end up being at the top of that group because the NFL does value turnovers. There are a lot of studies done with safeties and how much ball production translates to the next level. There's no one better than this kid. He's a playmaker. He's strong. He's effective against the run. He's a do-it-all type. He will be a starter at the next level. Along the defensive line, there's two guys I want you to watch. One of them is Riley Mills, 6'5", 306. This is one of the most impressive specimens in the draft. Once combine and pro days, once those numbers start to come out and we see what this guy does in those workouts, he's going to be someone that we consider a combine winner. But this is a football player as well. This is Notre Dame's top pass rusher. I have a day two projection on him. He's consistent and reliable. He lines up all over the line. He has a pressure in every single game this season. He's powerful. He can bend, and he's got a lot of underrated speed to him. When you watch him really get after a guy in space, there's something there with him that just stands out. And, from experience, I know that you have to really make some extra notes on these guys and know that kind of talent can translate to the next level. His teammate, Howard Cross Jr., 6'1", 288 pounds, an undersized 3 tech. He is the son of Howard Cross, a former Giants tight end of 13 years. This is a sixth-year guy. He really worked his way up from early up in his career. He was a second-team All-American last year in 2023. That was his coming out party. I have a mid-day 3 projection on him. He had a bad ankle injury over a month ago, and it was a play that coincidentally or not coincidentally, he got overpowered and bent backwards on, and that is the weakness to his game. He just doesn't have that anchor to really sustain his position against NFL caliber blockers against the run. His game at the next level will be built on sub packages and backup duty, and because he's a penetrator, he's a one gap guy that I think can come in and you can play some games with him and stunts and twists and all the games that defensive coordinators like to play up front. But in terms of being a guy that's on the field every down, I don't see that in him. but there is a value as a back-end roster guy. Last one, speaking of back-end roster, is linebacker Jake Kaiser. He's 6'1", 230. This is another sixth-year senior. He's been a big part of this team, a big part of the defensive rotation since 2021. He actually set a school record for games played by the program, 63. He's the team captain, day 3 projection here, round 5-6, special teams ace, and a backup weak side Mike linebacker. That's where I view him at the next level. Smart, physical guy, led the team in tackles. So that does it when Indiana has the ball. Defensively, we'll go back to Indiana. There's only one guy I really want to stand out, and this surprises me, but this has been a really solid unit all year. But I think in the future, we might have a few more names, especially in the defensive backfield. But for this upcoming draft, defensive end, edge defender Mikhail Kamara, 6'1", 265, first team All Big Ten. He's third in the nation in pressures. We're talking about one of the most productive pass rushers in the entire country. I have a day 3 projection on him. Simply put, he's short and he's not very fast, and that's not a great starting point for this kind of position. But the transfers from JMU, there's something to him. He knows what to do. He knows where to go. He knows how to manipulate blockers and sneak under windows. But there's you have to just kind of put a cap on what he can be at the next level. But there is a profile in recent scouting that I have that I want you to pay attention to. And this is Jesse Lukita from Penn State, a guy that did not meet the physical profile that many of us look for at the edge position. However, he is having some success in Arizona this year as a rotational guy because he knows how to play the game. And I get that kind of heavy-handed feel, high-engine output from Kamara that I kind of want to translate to the next level and take a risk on at some point in day 3 because of the position he plays. On the offensive side of the ball for Notre Dame, Riley Leonard is a guy that's been on the radar for a few years now. He's 6'4", 212. He transferred to Notre Dame from Duke this past season, similar to what Sam Hartman did the year prior to. And we did not see Riley Leonard take that jump up. There were a lot of voices saying that maybe it was the Duke program that really held him back. But I think we've all confirmed that Riley Leonard is backup caliber at the position at best. I have a day 3 projection on him. A lot of his game is scrambling and running around and creating with his legs. It works for Notre Dame, a very run-heavy team, and obviously a team that has had a lot of success this year. This kid scored 14 touchdowns and outgained Jalen Milroe on a yard per carry basis with 6.5 yards per carry. That's a big number for a quarterback. He's a big physical dude, big yard after contact type. This is a big time high school basketball player back in the day prior to his career at Duke. And you could see that kind of rare athletic ability translate. But as a passer, I just think he's limited. And we have seen enough of him to know that there probably is a limited ceiling on that it will never project to the starter level. But I do think he can make a roster at the next level. There's 2 more names on that Notre Dame offense that I want you to pay attention to. Wide receiver Bo Collins, 6'3", 210. Just watching him move, watching him run routes, watching him attack the football, he just screams NFL. There's a lot of NFL elements to his game. This is a transfer from Clemson. He did have some success there, but now he's the number 1 guy on the Notre Dame run-heavy team. As I said earlier, I have a round 4-5 projection on him. There's a lot I want to like more about him. He could be a riser if he runs well. His game is very physical, very fast, but the drops have been an issue the entire career, and I do weigh that a lot in my wide receiver evaluation. In some cases, I view a drop, same thing as a turnover. You can't let them happen as often as Bo Collins has let him happen over his entire career, but there is intrigue behind his tool set. Lastly, Mitchell Evans, a tight end, 6'5", 266 pounds is where I have him verified from last spring. This was a high school quarterback that converted to tight end for Notre Dame. He's coming off a torn ACL in 2023, but he's also right now this season, he's coming off his best game. He's had touchdowns in 3 of his last 4 games. I think now that we're hitting that 12-month mark of that ACL recovery, we're starting to see what he started to show last year prior to that injury. And that's a very formidable force at tight end, a guy that I think can play at the next level. Still have a day 3 projection on him. You got to be careful with these guys because I don't think he's a great athlete, but he is a big body and he can block. There is a savvy feel to him. He's a big time factor in traffic. He's caught 12 of 17 contested catches, contested targets over his career. So 12 of 17, that's a great percentage, way above average, probably going to be among the best in the class among tight ends and wide receivers. You know that he can play in a crowd. So that's it for the Notre Dame Indiana game. It's going to be a great game. It's going to be a great way to kick off the college football playoffs. But in regard to the 2025 NFL draft for your team, those are the guys I want you to keep an eye on. Come back. We'll have the rest of the games ready for you soon. Thank you.